When I came out here last week, I realized that the amount of the amount of applause I get for the walk up is like insufficient for the distance of the walk. And I basically have two choices. And one is to get funnier. So I'm sitting in the front row tonight. That's the other option. So I figured I'd shorten that walk a little bit, make it up while the talk is still going. I could move faster, but I'm kind of lazy, so that's not going to happen. So you were talking about kids and conversations and stuff like that. I love conversations. I'm neurodivergent, which I think is just dietism. It's like, it works pretty well for me. And so for me, as a result, conversations are weird because I'm very literal. I'll people be talking to me and I'll end up in weird places. So one of the ones that happened recently is I got a phone call from a friend of mine. And I've known this girl since she was 18 years old, right? I've known her like a decade and a half. And I'm trapped on this thing right now. So if I try and wander and I just like yoink, I'll laugh. So mission accomplished. So she calls and she's like, hey, do you want to go swinging with me? And I was like, what? And my now ex-wife was in the car with me. So I just like hit the speakerphone button. And I was like, can you explain to me, dear friend, like what's up? She's like, well, it's my birthday coming up. And I've never done it before and I've always wanted to. And I thought it'd be a lot more fun to do that with someone that I know, be more comfortable for a first time. So yeah, do you guys want to come swinging with us? And that began the most confusing 20 minutes of conversation in my life. And it was only once she revealed that the location was at the VFW and that I realized she was talking about dancing. And I guess I had a really awkward conversation with my wife for no reason. So other awkward conversations. My buddy, like I'm former military, so I'm like in recovery. So that no, hang on, I was a submariner, so and so the thing is, like, I got out, right? Like the military is kind of like a cult. We heard mention of cults earlier, and I feel like I escaped, right? And I'm in recovery now, and it's getting good. But there are things like what makes it a cult to me is like they say things in the military that make no sense to people on the outside. So my buddy calls me and he's like, hey man, I'm getting ready to transition. And I was like, oh boy, this is a dangerous conversation. Because you are either talking about getting out of the military because you're in the military and that's what we call it when we get out, or you're a normal person and you're talking about your gender. And I don't want to be an asshole, right? Like I want to be supportive. This is a friend, this is a person I care about, right? The problem is, do you realize how many things you use to describe both of those the same way? So I'm like trying to prompt him. I'm like, so what do you think? He's like, I don't know. It's a really big commitment. I'm like, oh, thanks so much. He's like, and with Trump in office, I'm not sure if it's even a good idea. I was like, that's no fucking help. How about, what do you think your family will think? And he's like, I don't know. My dad's got strong feelings on this. And I'm like, I finally was just like, dude, you gotta tell me, are you changing genders or are you getting out of the military? He was like, oh, no, getting out, not coming out. I was like, all right, well, there we go. Appreciate it. I also have kids. I have a 9-year-old son who has also got his own brand of dietism. And so we have the most amazing conversations, especially around church, but don't dig too deep into that. So the one that happened most recently is apparently after church 2 weeks ago, they got like too deep into communion. Like they dove into like the transubstantiation. Any Catholics here? Anyone follow the teachings of Catholic? No? All right. Yeah. So transubstantiation is the belief that the Eucharist becomes the literal body and blood of Jesus in your mouth. And but again, don't think too hard about it. It's just and so my son is like asking me about this, right? He's like, yeah, communion is like the body and blood. I'm like, okay, well, some are like literal, some are figurative, others are, whatever. I said, I don't think it's that big a deal. And he goes, okay. And he gets quiet. And when he gets quiet like that, he's thinking a thought that's either really deep or it's gonna rock my world. And he looks at me, he's like, do you think we had a whole one? A whole what, son? Oh, Jesus. There's like a lot of people in there. Like, how much of a Jesus do you think we all ate? First of all, in the words of the Virgin Mary, come again? And second of all, we can do this math. Let's break it out. So it turns out that the average Eucharist is about 1/3 of an ounce. So for how many grams in an ounce? Somebody's in my head. 28.35. That's correct. Well done. So turns out we'll call it 10 grams. You figure Jesus, Middle Eastern guy, 70 kilograms. That's about 7,000 Eucharist. So no, we only had about a rack of Jesus today, buddy. There's a small turnout, so not quite enough. So but I mean, think about it. Like, Olive Baptist has got to get through like 2 or 3 Jesuses a weekend. Like that's kind of like 2 miracles all in one go. It's like the feeding the 5,000. All right, bunch of loaves and fishes and Jesuses. Anyway, that's my time. Thanks so much.